And this is going to be part 2 of the curtain call ticket mini album. And so I've gone ahead with my first cover and I've just painted the edges with some acrylic paint that I bought at my dollar store, and it's gold metallic acrylic paint. And I think that's the kind of accent I want for this paper line. I've gone ahead and chosen the gold as my accent, and I put some stickles and some glossy accents all throughout my album on some pages already. So I just take your basic foam brush, the kind that sometimes Michael's has on sale. And I go ahead and I paint all the edges as deep or as non-deep as I want. And you could go ahead and you could dry this with your heat gun if you wanted to. I'm just going to add some more paint here. But my heat gun died. And I'm going to wait for my birthday to get another one. But it dries fairly quickly on its own anyhow. So first I like to go over my reverse side with my brush in a dry state just to take away any of that bubbling that may occur. Again, all these techniques are up to you. It depends what kind of a look you want to achieve. Just want to get into those grooves as best as you can. So I'm brushing towards the center of this chipboard just to feather out and fan and clean up those edges from any extra paint that there may be. And I'm going to set this one aside because I already have one that's dry. I'm just grabbing a wet nap. I'm going to clean off some of that excess paint that's on here. So this is my cover from earlier, and I had already done the painting on it. And this is my front cover. And I'm going to glue down my pages and my covers with quick dry adhesive. It just reminded me to turn on my hot glue gun. So I like to use the tip of the glue bottle and go as close to the edges as I can, and doing circular motions to fill in some of that space there so that I know it'll be really well adhered. Luckily this pattern or this cut doesn't have too many intricate details, but you just want to make sure your edges are glued down nicely. So these two pieces are cut out exactly the same. So giving into consideration that, you know, it is chipboard and the Cricut does its best to cut out chipboard. You might have some raw edges that you may want to sand down afterwards, or you may just be like me where you don't glue things down straight all the time. And I'm only going to glue down my cover piece I'm not going to glue my inside piece yet. I just wanted to show you that if you are planning on using chipboard and you're going to have some raw edges to it, that you might want to go ahead and paint your edges or distress your edges, whatever works best for you. And again, I'm going to set this aside to dry. I'm just going to go around some of the edges with my bone folder just to make sure that I do get the glue to get my edging down nice and neat. This is my good bone folder. My other one has glue on it already. I have to dig that out. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside to dry as well. Cover up my glue. And so now what we want to prepare is our hinges. And you need 6 of them. And I already have one done because that was my test run. And you want to score it at 5 and 5 1/4. So everything you do in batches. That way it just makes this process that much easier. So again, I'm scoring at 5 and 5 1/4, just to leave that little gusset style that I learned from Kathy from Paper Phenomenon. And it works well because if you want to add any kind of embellishment, then you've got room to expand your album a little bit. And it just makes for a neater binding. So again, working in batches is the fastest way, getting everything cut out and done, get everything scored away. And then you just want to come back with your bone folder and you just want to reinforce those score marks. And you want to use your edges, lining them up together. They won't match here, but you do want them to be straight on the sides before you go down and burnish them. So that's where you're going to know. Some glue there on the table. That's how you're going to know where you want the matchup to be. That one was done. Sometimes your paper is not centered to each other, or your score lines were off by a little bit. There can always be a reason, so using your own paper's natural lines is sometimes the only way you can get a good edge. So those are all of your hinges for your pages to be connected. Then you're going to get all 5 of your pages. And you're going to get your pattern pages that you cut out. Again, on some of mine, I've gone ahead and added some glossy accents and stickles to it, just because I thought, you know, this is what I'd like to have on my pages sticking out. Your pattern pages should be cut with the regular feature, and they should leave a nice little neat edge or border to it. So once you've chosen the pattern paper that you like, you can go ahead and adhere these down whatever way you want. So for this album, you can do whatever choice you want. I'm not going to make this into an extra pocket. I'm going to adhere these down flat. But if you want to, you can go right ahead and make this into an extra pocket if you want more room for photos. If you desire your album to look like that, go for it. Because the tags that you cut out, you just can cut out some more. They'll fit nicely in there. You might want to add some ribbon or pull to get that out. You might want to close them down 3/4 of the way just to seal in that pocket so you don't lose them into no man's land. But I myself will not be doing that because I'm going to put some heavy embellishment on the front of my pictures, or sorry, on the front of my pattern pages, so I don't want to do that. So you've got some options and I'm going to show you. You can either take your ATG gun, which is really fast and it's an amazing time saver, and you can use your ATG and you can run back into those edges with just a little bit of quick dry. So most of what we run into is we don't have time to do it. Well, these are time-saving tricks. I wouldn't go, with solid glue if it was a hinge or something where, it's going to get a lot of wear and tear. I wouldn't do that. But because this is just an edge of a flat page that I'm decorating, I'm going full out and going to be doing that to this page. So now I'm going to grab my front cover, because this is my inside page that I want, and I'm going to get myself a hinge. And what I want to do is I want to have this as my pocket, on this side, and this as my hinge, but I don't want my hinge to be visible from the other side. I only want it to be on this side, and this side I want it to be closed. Again, this is personal preference. You can choose whatever you like. If you feel that you would like to have that page shown and accessible, you can do that. I personally do not. And then it's going to have a black overlay, and then again another one of those patterned pages on here. This will be my insert. The page will flip over this way, and then we continue so on and so forth.